President Joe Biden is unveiling his grand plan for defeating the coronavirus, and so far, well, it looks exactly like President Trump's, including installing the same exact travel bans that Biden accused Trump of being a racist for implementing in the first place, and even expanding them. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom is rolling back his state's restrictions, but won't say why because apparently the data would be too confusing for the public. And because apparently we've given up on any semblance of consistency here because there's no orange man to blame it all on. Why? Well, because this whole thing has been bullcrap from the beginning. Biden has nothing new to offer. He never did, and he knows it. But the media don't want you to. President Joe Biden is rolling out his greatly anticipated plan to defeat the coronavirus, and so far, well, it's looking an awful lot like Trump's. Which is probably because, and I know I'm about to blow your mind here, but a president can't actually protect you from a virus. Because A, he's one person, and B, that's not his job. He can kill a bunch of jobs with the stroke of a pen, apparently, but he can't keep you from breathing in germs at the supermarket. So now, after spending months campaigning on a vague, never actually detailed plan to defeat the coronavirus and slamming Trump for not doing enough to stop it, here's Biden saying that, well, there's actually nothing more we can do to stop it.
There's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months.
Oh my gosh, did you guys not see this coming? If you voted for this guy, did you actually think he was going to roll out some brilliant plan to stop an airborne flu bug in a country of 320 million people? The best he's going to be able to do is roll out the vaccine that was developed under the Trump administration. That is, if he ever takes a break from signing executive orders to kill our oil industry and fund more abortions, but I'm sure he will get around to it eventually. Meanwhile, Biden is reinstalling some of the same exact travel bans that he blasted Trump for in a stunning display of hypocrisy so blatant it would be laughable if it weren't so disgusting. Let's watch this unfold in two acts, shall we? Here's Biden back in March of last year claiming that banning travel from Europe or any other part of the world won't stop the virus.
Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world may slow it, but as we've seen, it will not stop it. And travel restrictions based on favoritism and politics rather than risk will be counterproductive.
And here's Biden just this weekend announcing he'll be reinstating the travel ban on most of Europe, the UK, and Brazil in order to help stop the virus.
In light of the new COVID variants that you're learning about, we're instituting now a new measure for individuals flying into the United States from other countries.
Here's Biden slamming Trump for restricting travel from Africa due to credible concerns over terrorist threats, saying it's racist to keep black and brown people out of the United States. And here's Biden yesterday installing a travel ban on non-U.S. citizens from South Africa to stop the coronavirus.
The new ban will apply to non-U.S. citizens who have recently traveled to South Africa. The president will also bring back restrictions on travel from the U.K., much of Europe, and Brazil, where new COVID strains have emerged.
Now, I would say I told you so, but frankly, if you thought Biden was going to come waltzing into the Oval Office with some grand plan to stop an illness that's been spreading throughout our country for nearly a year, I'm not sure you should be trusted to tie your own shoes, much less vote. Not only did he come in with no plan, he's bogarting the same plan from Trump that he spent months criticizing. And he's actually expanding the same travel restrictions that he condemned Trump for putting in place. Just days before leaving office, Trump had actually begun to roll back travel restrictions from Europe. Biden is putting them back, even after saying on the campaign trail that they didn't work.
The ban would prevent most non-U.S. citizens from entering if they have recently traveled to South Africa, where a new coronavirus variant has been detected. The president is also expected to reinstate restrictions that were repealed by President Trump in his final days in office, set to go into effect tomorrow. These will affect non-U.S. citizens traveling from Brazil, the United Kingdom, and Ireland, as well as 26 European countries.
South Africa wasn't on Trump's most recent list of restricted travel nations. Biden is adding it, which by his own standards is pretty freaking racist. Meanwhile, the mayor of D.C. is opening up indoor dining. The governor of Michigan is rolling back lockdown restrictions. Andrew Cuomo up in New York is demanding businesses open back up as soon as possible. Governor Gavin Newsom is lifting California's stay-at-home order even before his state reaches the thresholds that his own office had previously set.
Last night, members of the California Restaurant Association received this email with good news stating that senior members in the Newsom administration had informed the association that the governor would be lifting the stay-at-home order today.
Newsom had previously stated that all regions would be kept under a lockdown as long as their number of available ICU beds was below 15%. But this week, he announced he's lifting the restrictions, even though every single region in his state is still below 15%. Why? Well, we don't know.
The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has lifted some restrictions in some parts of the state, but he's still refusing to release the state's COVID data that he used to justify the lockdowns.
His office won't release the data that they're basing that decision on because they say it's too complex and would only confuse the public. So let me translate that. Because the election's over. There's no reason to keep destroying the economy for votes, and hey, there's really nothing else we can do to stop the virus anyway, we always knew that, except maybe keep out the foreigners, which is apparently totally okay to do now. Are y'all getting this yet? There is no master plan to deal with COVID. It is a virus. There is no president on this planet who can protect you from it. All they can do at best is try to keep importing more of it, which is exactly what Trump was trying to do when he got called a racist xenophobe for his trouble. And now Biden is doing the exact same thing because he's got nothing else. He never did, and he knows it. His great plan to defeat COVID was bull. It was always bull. It's still going to be bull a month from now. All the data these governors were relying on to justify slaughtering our economy were bull because they're already throwing it out the window. The only difference here is that the media will not be grilling Biden over every single step he takes, and he won't be called a racist grandma killer for doing the exact same things that Trump did. It's already happening. But for him, it'll be all unicorns and glitter, while Kayleigh McEnany had to spend all day for months fielding questions about why Trump was such a xenophobic bigot. New White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki's biggest problem seems to be not slipping in the giant puddle of drool the media are leaving under her shoes, because our media is a joke. And this entire election season was about preying on people's fear and ignorance. And if you bought into it, thinking Biden had some magic original plan to make a virus go away, I am so sorry, because frankly, life must be exceedingly difficult for you. And that's your Reality Check, America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay sane out there.